Hi there. In this session we're going to be taking a close look at what the Gantt chart can offer us inside Mission Control. There are two ways we can access and work with the Gantt chart. One is on the project overview page, accessible by selecting a project here and clicking on the project overview. That's what we refer to as the embedded Gantt chart. Alternatively, we can use the standalone Gantt chart, and the benefit of that is we don't have to make a selection. We can access the Gantt chart and pull in a number of different projects into the one Gantt chart. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the embedded Gantt chart. The project overview page will load up, and if we scroll down we'll see we come to the Gantt chart. So this is the embedded Gantt chart. There's a number of things that it makes available to us. So first of all, what it's showing us is the timeline for the overall project. The timeline for the individual milestones are the blue bars, and then the green are the individual actions on the project. So we're able to drag and drop individual actions to reschedule them. We can also pick up an entire milestone and drag that to the time we need to reschedule it to. We can also extend the duration of any particular action. Just by dragging the end will increase the end date. Alternatively, we may need to bring it forward, so we're going to extend this, bring forward the start date by dragging the left hand side of the action. If we need to push things out or pull them forward, we can actually, beyond the timeline that we've got on the Gantt chart currently, we can click on the buttons here to add a week to the start, or we can add a week to the end, and we can drag and drop the actions and milestones accordingly to work with the timeline that we need on the project. We can also create dependencies between actions. To create a dependency making the design UI dependent on the design wireframes, I simply need to click from the right hand side of the parent action and drag to the left hand side of the child, and that will create a dependency. If I reschedule a few of the actions just to demonstrate how we can build dependencies as well, so we can drag from the right hand side of the design UI to the left hand side of the build page content. If I create a few more dependencies, what I've got now is the relationships between those four actions. The benefit I've got of putting these dependencies in place is if I reschedule the parent action, you'll see that all successors will actually be rescheduled by the same period of time, but keeping the lead time between the actions. If I need to remove a dependency, I can simply double click and click delete, and that will remove that dependent relationship between the two actions. I also have the ability to add in new milestones and actions directly from the Gantt chart. So to add a new milestone, I simply click the plus sign on the project row. That will open up a box that allows me to fill in the details for my new milestone. Now that the milestone is there, I can click on the plus sign against that to add in some actions. Now when I'm ready, I can click on save, and the milestone and those actions will be created. You can see there they've been created. Now I can adjust the schedule accordingly. If I need to make changes to any existing milestone or action, I can do that directly from the Gantt chart. I simply double click on the record. That will open up the light box, and I can make adjustments to the record as required. I have the same feature available for editing actions as well, so I can just double click on the action and make changes as I need to. If I mark the action as a high priority, you'll notice that when I go back to the Gantt chart, the action is now highlighted in red to give me visual indication that this is an important action we need to pay attention to. Let's take a look at some of the buttons that we've got available to us on the navigation bar here. So I have this toggle button that allows me to show or hide the table grid, so I can look at purely the Gantt chart if I need to. I simply click that, and then the table becomes available again. I can extend the column width of any of the individual data columns as well. I also have the ability to zoom in or zoom out as I need to suit my own requirements. I can save any changes that I've made. As I've explained, we can add a week to the start or a week to the end of the timeline. We can also export the project in an XML format that can be imported into MS Project. We can also click on PDF export. That allows us to take a copy of the Gantt chart in a PDF format, so we can email that off to our client if we need to show them the timeline we're working to. Now let's take a look at the standalone Gantt chart. We access the standalone Gantt chart by simply clicking the View Gantt chart button from the console. We don't need to make a selection of a project. We can simply click the button and that will open up the Gantt chart with our previous selections visible. So you can see here I have a number of different projects available to me. These are the projects that I've previously selected to view on the Gantt chart. I'm able to view them all in context of one another and see the timelines. All of the functionality that we've already looked at, being able to drag and drop to reschedule milestones and actions or entire projects, editing and adding new actions and milestones, all exists on this standalone page as well. The key differences between the embedded Gantt chart and the standalone Gantt chart are I can apply these filters to determine what I want to look at. So if I want to change the projects that I'm looking at, I can simply click the filters view. I can choose to make a selection of the projects that I want to look at. Alternatively, I can use any other pick list field that is on the project record. So I might switch over to project category and choose to look at all internal development projects. This will load in all of the projects that have that value as their category. I can quickly make an adjustment to look at all marketing projects instead. Now obviously you have the ability to set your own values in this category field, and you just do that by editing the pick list in the setup. I'll go back to the project name and just select a few different projects that I want to look at, and I'll load them onto the Gantt chart. Again, I have the ability to zoom in and zoom out as required to set the view as I would like to see it. I also have the ability to expand and collapse all of my projects. If I want to simply look at the high-level project timelines that we're working to, I can pull all of that on by collapsing those projects.